We are the Church of the Larger Fellowship, the Unitarian Universalist congregation with no geographical boundaries. We believe in cultivating curiosity and transformation that is rooted in profound love.
For over 85 years, the ministries of the Church of the Larger Fellowship have circled the globe and crossed the walls of prisons. We are a spiritual lifeline for our over 2,000 members in prison, who are also connected to individual Unitarian Universalists through our letter-writing ministry.
In our online community, we offer weekly worship, classes, and groups. Our monthly magazine, Quest, supports the spiritual lives of thousands around the globe. We know better than anyone how deep and meaningful connections can be formed even from a distance.
We are proud to be a leader in this faith movement, and we invite you to get involved in our ministry. We strive to be a place where anyone from anywhere can find spiritual refuge anytime they need it. Welcome to the Church of the Larger Fellowship.
We are so excited to bring you an all-new episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism, known affectionately as The View.
The View is a weekly Unitarian Universalist talk show discussing important faith-based topics from an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and multicultural perspective.
Since 2013, we have gathered every Thursday from September to June to welcome guests from around the world.
Our guests are writers, scholars, activists, and religious thought leaders who are shaping Unitarian Universalism and society for the 21st century and beyond.
We hope that today's show inspires you. We hope it builds your faith and gives you perspective to see the power of Unitarian Universalism at work in your life.
Welcome to The View.
Greetings, beloved. Welcome to the Voices of Unitarian Universalism, known as The View, your weekly talk show brought to you for now 13 years by the Church of the Larger Fellowship, your Unitarian Universalist congregation without borders or walls. I'm the Reverend Dr. Michael Tino, one half of the lead ministry team of the CLF, the Church of the Larger Fellowship. And I am coming to you from bright, sunny Peekskill, New York, where it is a beautiful fall day here on the land of the Quechuan, Wappinger, and Munsee Lenape peoples. I noticed that we have some of our beloveds checking in live on Facebook and YouTube. We're so happy that you're with us today. I figure that we will have some hot takes for you all today on what's going on in our world and in the United States right now. And I don't really want to delay that. So how are you, Aisha?
Hi, how is my sound? I'm Aisha Hauser, the one half of the glorious and just magnificent co-lead team of the Church of the Larger Fellowship, along with my friend and colleague, Reverend Dr. Michael Tino. I am in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, also the land of the Coast Salish people. And I apologize that I forgot to look up exactly the tribe that is closer to Vancouver. I am at the Liberal Religious Educators Association Fall Conference. So what Loretta did this year is there are several hubs. This is the main hub. There's one in Tulsa, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I believe folks are gathering in Seattle, in New Jersey, and several other places. So it's very cool. It's the first time Loretta has done it quite this way. It's very exciting. And I have a lot to talk about, including telling you all that I got to spend an entire day with Resmaa Menakem, who wrote My Grandmother's Hands, Bayo Akomolafe, who's also a Black male author, and Orland Bishop. So I'll tell you about that later. DC, how are you? Where are you?
Hi, everyone. I am Reverend DC Fortune, and I serve the First Universalist Church of Auburn, Maine, here on the banks of the Androscoggin River, home of the Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, Androscoggin, and Wabanaki people. It is sunny with some poofy clouds floating around. Um, 45 degrees this morning when I woke up. And last night I made the first chowder of the season.
Nice.
It was cold and wet and rainy, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this needs chowder." And
Chowder weather.
Chowder weather, baby. Yeah. So, all things considered, it's pretty good here.
Yeah,
Listen.
it is soup and stew weather here too, which is just
Oh yeah, same here. It's cold and rainy, and same as Seattle. I drove, just over 3 hours into the same exact weather that I left. So funsies, not even a little sun. Oh, Canada. Yeah, we listen. Can I? I'm so happy to join today. I didn't know if I was going to be able to. Very happy to be here. Mamdan. The name is Mamdani. So listen, everybody. You do not need to be a centrist, bullshit, moderate, nonsense fuckface. You can run fully as someone who centers human rights, affordability, diversity. He said the city is run by immigrants, and for the first time would be led by an immigrant. Hell to the fucking yes. And I know there are a lot of other races that flipped as well, but did you see that there were people in Kentucky trying to vote for Mamdani, and the attorney, whoever does the elections in the state had to say, you cannot vote in Virginia or New York City. Please stop calling. We don't have an election this year.
Let's talk about New York City. It is my hometown. I live 35 miles north of it, and I am extraordinarily proud of the city of my birth and upbringing, which will have roughly its 25th immigrant mayor in its history. Actually, the first since Abe Beam in 1977.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but still. Certainly our first Muslim mayor, which is beyond exciting, but more than that, the city turned out to replicate this toxic masculinity, democratic nonsense, this old school, let's find out what the billionaires want and promise them that bullshit nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And, more than 2 million people voted in the New York City general election for the first time since 1969.
Wow.
2 million people have not voted in a mayoral race in New York City since 1969.
Wow.
And so Zohran Mamdani is the first mayor-elect to get more than 1 million votes.
Wow.
Since 1969.
Damn.
And Aisha, you've disappeared.
I don't know why. My camera doesn't.
I think we can still hear you.
Come on.
I have no idea what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either. But I think that it's so connected to things that went on in other places. And I want to name one thread that I think we on The View are especially glad for, which is the thread of repudiating this vile anti-trans rhetoric that the Republican Party has embraced, and that Andrew Cuomo was happy to be okay with, and that Gavin Newsom is perfectly fine with over there in California. And now Aisha's gone, but she'll be back.
Maybe the interwebs haven't got to Vancouver.
Oh, here's Aisha. Aisha's back. So, I was saying, Aisha, that it was an absolute repudiation of this vile anti-trans rhetoric that the Republican Party has embraced. My parents live in Pennsylvania, which is a swing state in presidential elections that has, gone the wrong way a couple times recently, and at least the wrong way from my perspective. And I couldn't watch TV at their house in the last election because every other ad.
Oh, it was awful.
This is vile anti-trans nonsense.
Yeah, I was in Pennsylvania then too.
President, right. And more than 50% of the ad money spent by Winsome Earl Sears, the Republican candidate in Virginia for governor, was spent on airing vile anti-trans ads. More than 50% of her campaign spending.
So gross.
And she lost by 17 points. In a state with a current where she's the lieutenant governor.
Wow.
Right? So she had won a statewide election 4 years ago for
Yeah, she got
lieutenant governor.
spanked.
And where the current governor is a conservative Republican, not even a MAGA Republican. He's not even like a halfway decent to deal with Republican. He's a conservative MAGA Republican. And she lost by 17 points airing anti-trans ads. And that's Virginia, which is not New York City.
Right? Yeah.
And so when Zoran Mamdani released an ad, and you should all look up this video. It is him sitting at his little desk in a park in New York City, and it is a park named for Sylvia Rivera, a trans hero, and longtime activist who was at Stonewall in 1969, and he said that he will not throw the most vulnerable people in our society under the bus to score political points. Like he said that sitting at that desk in Sylvia Rivera Park, right?
And he still got 2 million votes.
Yes, and he still got more than 1 million votes, more than 50% of the electorate. I do want to say, because there's some misinformation swirling about out there.
Yeah.
New York City, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, this is because of ranked choice voting. And New York City doesn't use ranked choice voting in general elections.
That's right.
They only use, unlike Maine, for example, which does, and Alaska, they only use, and San Francisco, they only use ranked choice voting in primary elections. And do not fucking ask me why. I wasn't there when they made that decision to amend the city charter in that particular way, but only in primary elections. So while ranked choice voting contributed to Mamdani winning the primary, though he didn't need it, let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
He was ahead in round one, and he was ahead when he passed 50%. He didn't need ranked choice voting. It did help him campaign with the other progressives and not against them, which is made for a better campaign. I think that the progressives were all together and were like, rank all of us and not Andrew Cuomo. There was no ranked choice voting in the general election, so he got more than 50% of the vote without ranked choice voting in an election that something like 7 or 8 candidates were running in.
Oh, I know. It was like Oscar the Grouch was the only one not on the ballot.
Oscar the Grouch might have done better than the current mayor of New York, though.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Better. Well, Oscar the Grouch would have done better than Cuomo too.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, Cuomo had a lot. I mean, here's what's gross, and I'm trying to not be mad about it. The Democratic establishment, which absolutely went so against Mamdani quite explicitly, is now including his victory in their advertisements, and now they want to ride his coattails.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting.
Because he got, for the first time in modern memory, he got young people out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He won men ages 18 to 29 by 40 points.
Yeah. It wasn't even close.
Which is not, that's not a demographic that progressives have won recently.
No shit. Yeah.
So, he got a coalition of people out to vote because he was addressing the needs of the people.
He was clear and pro-Palestinian.
And he was baited,
right,
to say bad things about Abigail Spanberger, who was the centrist Democrat, who was the governor-elect in Virginia. And he's like, oh, well, what about this centrist? And what he said was, I'm running for mayor of New York City, and she's running for governor of Virginia. And we're both doing our best to listen to the people of the places that we're running.
Right.
Running in.
Yeah.
Right? You don't win on the exact same platform for governor of Virginia that you do for mayor of New York City. But
No.
even she, a centrist, didn't throw trans people under the bus. Even she, a centrist, didn't, she campaigned on economic issues and protecting the most vulnerable among us and making sure that people had work and got paid, and like that's what she was campaigning on.
Does she
It
call
was not.
herself a centrist, or is that label being put on her by others?
I think she calls herself a centrist, because that's the way you survive in Virginia.
I mean, I hear you, and the Overton window has moved so far right that I get it, and it's like I and it doesn't matter what I wish, but I do wish
She might actually be a centrist and not the center of the Democratic Party, which is to the right of her. But
yeah, I mean, I guess the thing, yeah, I hear that, and she won by a lot, so whatever she did worked. The question now is going to be same in New Jersey. Mikey won.
Yeah.
By a lot, and there were a lot of Mississippi flipped 2 state legislature seats, which broke the supermajority of the Republicans.
Yep.
Mississippi.
Yep.
And in Virginia, like if you didn't follow down the ballot, the Democrats won all of the statewide races.
All of them.
The lieutenant governor of Virginia will be the first Muslim
right.
person elected to statewide office in the United States.
Yep.
Ghazala Hashmi. The attorney general candidate, who was like maybe not a very good candidate, even won. And Democrats had a 51-49 majority in the state house of delegates. It will now be 64 seats. They picked up 13 seats in the Virginia House of Delegates, including districts where there was one district where the Republican incumbent had served since 1989, and his last election he won by 80 points.
Wow.
And he lost.
Holy shit.
Wild.
I think people are tired of the bullshit.
They're tired of the bullshit. There was a story, I heard it on one of the podcasts, and I don't remember the town in Texas. There was a town in Texas that in maybe 20 or 2022 went completely conservative, like every and they, like MAGA conservative and MAGA, and they stopped paying for social services. Like, I mean, not so they like garbage wasn't getting picked up. They lost some credit rating, whatever that is. So, P.S. the whole point of the story was, they were still fighting a culture war, and they ousted all these people because none of their policies worked, as we're watching right now. But one of the also Republican people who defeated this group said they kept bringing up abortion. We haven't had a clinic here since the 80s. Why were we even talking about abortion? Why weren't they taking care? So I think part of what's happening now too in this country is people are finding out what government does. Mm-hmm. People are finding out that government feeds people. I was on food stamps. Mm-hmm. When my parents divorced, they were paper back then. It wasn't a card.
I remember those.
Yep, they were actually stamps.
They were literally and it is significant. And I think it also populist messages work. And I don't know why. Then it doesn't matter. I mean, we could break it down. I'm sure the history books will be writing about the choice the Democrats made in the last election and not to be populist, to be frankly condescending to voters. But my friend who watches Spanish language television said the Republicans ran like 4-to-1 commercials talking about the price of groceries. It was a deeply populist message. Mm-hmm. So that and Mom Donnie at least learned from that and had a deeply populist message for New York City. And my favorite is all the people who are threatening to move. Part of me wants to say, listen, if you have a rent-controlled apartment or you're let me know, because I'm now like, oh, well, that would get me back to New York City, getting an affordable place to live. The fuck?
Right. Can we talk also about Maine?
Yeah.
Yes, can we please?
Maine had 2 questions on the ballot this time around. The first one was an effort to eliminate absentee ballots and mail-in ballots.
Mm.
And that got defeated, and it also had some like voter ID stuff squished in. It was sort of a mishmash of all of the bad ideas about voter suppression sort of rolled into one, and that got rejected by like a 3-2 margin. And then the second referendum question was about red flag, yellow flag laws for gun owners, for people who are deemed to be a danger to themselves or others, can have their guns seized, and the request can be made by the family, not just the police, which is how it's been. And that won by a similar margin, meaning that law was passed. And to be fair, also, just last week before, was the 2-year anniversary of that god awful mass shooting here in Lewiston, where 18 people died or something horrid like that. And so it's right on the anniversary of that. They were asking people to vote, and it was also really clear that the legislature did not have the intestinal fortitude to just pass the fucking law. All right, 1221, me. So they put it to referendum, and the people were like, yes, we meant it when we said that.
Well, and then no politician can throw, they also are cowards. Like, they don't want to be held to a vote that makes sense and protects people.
Yeah. Also, we just learned that Jared Golden, who's our second, Maine has 2 congressional districts. Jared Golden is a representative in District 2, and he has just announced that he is not going to run for re-election.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was really interesting. And he's the one who 2 years ago stood next to Shelley Pingree and Janet Mills. Shelley Pingree's congressional District 1 representative, and Janet Mills is the governor. And he said, I opposed gun safety legislation, and I was wrong. And he's been kicked hard by the MAGA right ever since that. And interestingly enough, he said, he wrote a long op-ed thing in the Bangor Daily News about why he was dropping out of the race. And he said, everything is so polarized, and he and his family are getting death threats at home. And he said he wasn't worried about losing. He was worried about winning.
Wow.
He just didn't want to do it again. Also, he was totally going to get his ass handed to him, but that's another story.
And for those of our viewers who are not familiar with Maine politics, because I'm a politics nerd, just so you're aware, like maps and politics, so congressional districts fascinate me. This whole redistricting thing, like the gerrymandering nonsense.
Oh yeah,
I could go on forever. But Congressional District 2 is the more conservative of Maine's districts. Maine splits their electoral votes, and CD2 gave its electoral vote to the current president in the last election, and so it's seen as a pickup opportunity, as a potential pickup opportunity by the Republicans. I don't know. Maybe they can get a good candidate in there.
I'm hearing, God help us, I'm hearing Paul LePage, former Maine Governor Paul LePage, is going to run for that seat.
Oh, God help us.
Well, he's so beloved that maybe like.
The thing is, he's beloved by the Red Hat Club.
Sure, but you can't just get the Red Hat vote.
In Congressional District 2, yeah, you can, kind of.
So
there are two very distinct Maines.
Reverend Michael is CLF Steve Kornacki. Yeah, they are.
Right. Yes.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Darby. I should have like a whiteboard here.
Yeah. Well, there are two very distinct mains.
Yes.
Very, very, very distinct mains. There is Augusta South, which includes Portland and all of the super expensive, pseudo-liberal coastal communities, Algonquin and Kennebunkport and all of those places. And then there's the rest of Maine, which is paper mills and shoe factories, or used to be, right? Some farming, some logging.
Close down factories and close down mills.
Close down factories, close down mills. Guys who used to sell cordwood for the pulp paper industry are now trying to get by on cutting firewood, and it's a whole different world. It's just not enough. Anyway, so two very different mains. Shelley Pingree's gonna run again, and she's one of those ones, so she'll be getting elected like 10 years after she's dead. And CD2 is just going to be a circus for a while. We'll see how that shakes out.
And thankfully, Maine still does use
ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
Ranked choice voting. So
yes. Yeah. So, I mean, we've got all of four electoral votes or whatever the hell it is. But we don't decide who gets them for probably a week because of the ranked choice thing.
That's funny.
So California also, let's talk about that with the redistricting thing.
I do want to talk about that, and I actually have mixed feelings about it. Hear me out.
Yeah.
I went to see Masha Gessen in September. I didn't go to see Masha Gessen. I saw Masha Gessen speak at an event I was at. And someone asked them about what was going on in California and this tit for tat. And they said, make sure you support what you want to live with. So right now, gerrymandering is terrible for all of us. It is terrible on its surface.
Right.
Just like executive orders are terrible, and Obama felt like he had to ramp them up, because that's who ramped them up, because he had a hostile government, right. Congress. So,
Mitch McConnell.
Oh my God, the demon Mitch McConnell. He's another one, right? So, what made me think, and I hadn't thought of it that way. And so, yes, I mean, we knew Prop 50 was going to pass. There was no way it wasn't, and it's in direct, opposition to Texas. So now other states that are purple and whatnot are now looking at redistricting. What would it look like to fight to get rid of gerrymandering? Period. Full stop. Mm-hmm. But if we continue, here's what I'm getting at. It is not helpful for us as a nation to keep going tit for tat. That we are it's like watching our divorced parents fight over custody, and it's toxic. And I mean, am I glad Prop 50 passed? I mean, insofar as to balance out what's going on in Texas and to tell the Republicans, fuck you, we're not going to just keep, letting things slide. However, do we want to keep gerrymandering? Do we? And I don't necessarily have an alternative proposal, but I do think, what would our politics look like? I mean, also the thing I want to lift up about Mamdani is he redirected every time somebody tried to get him into the mud. He redirected it. He redirected it to lift up the people most targeted. He never, even though, I mean, I know, he's become a meme and Zohran Mamdani, but he was very clear to talk about the collective. We, us, our. He is really strategic and brilliant in that way, that he is saying, I'm fighting for you. He was a community organizer before he got into state politics, and then he was a state legislature, right? And then
also educated at Bowdoin College here in Maine.
I do know that he was educated at Bowdoin, and I mean, so I think it is good, and I also think somebody was saying on social media that what Mamdani's win also did was invite us into expanding our collective imaginations, which is what we've been talking about at the CLF forever and a day. We have preached about. I mean, I definitely have, and it's like, So this is all to say, for the short term, sure, Prop 50 gives a big fuck you to Texas. However, is this really something we want to live with?
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm glad that Prop 50 was clear that it's only in effect until the 2030 redistricting. So it expires.
That's good. That's very good.
Okay.
Because I think as a permanent thing, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think it would have won as a permanent thing. But I think that in order to pass legislation to outlaw gerrymandering, people who actually care about outlawing gerrymandering have to be in the majority in Congress.
And term limits. That's the other thing Congress needs, and the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And Nancy fucking Pelosi's finally retiring. Fuck her.
Also, Dick Cheney died.
Ding dong.
Ding dong, bitches. Ding dong. That's what Joe Maluo posted. Norma posted, ding dong, bitches. Ding dong. That's it. Not the man's name. Nothing.
So funny thing. Back in the days when Johnny Carson did the Tonight Show, Joan Crawford died, and he happened to have Betty Davis on that week, and the two of them had like a feud for the ages with the Hollywood starlet thing.
Oh man.
And by this time, Betty Davis is this like shriveled, tiny little wrinkled person. She's still chain smoking cigarettes. And so Johnny Carson said to her, he said, we've had a milestone this week. We really had it. Joan Crawford has died. It really sort of marks the beginning of the end of a particular era in Hollywood. And I know the two of you had your moments, and I wondered if you wanted to comment at all on this. Betty smoking her cigarette. She says, they say you should always speak good of the dead. Joan's dead. Good.
Wow. That's
Woo! She was cold.
But it's not long ago memory that Dick Cheney was the most evil that we could imagine being in charge of this country.
Right.
And he seems so mild now. Not to the millions of Iraqis and Afghani people who are dead because of him. He doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
But that brand of evil just seems mild right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But he's dead. So, ding dong.
You should always speak good of the dead.
And yes, Darby, the spice is spicy. The spice is spicy. I know that our beloveds in Minneapolis would also like to us to hold them in our hearts because their moderate Democrat mayor was actually reelected over several progressive challengers, and they use ranked choice voting too.
Really?
So yeah, it was even with a ranked choice system.
Damn.
Which is it's sad. It's not like they elected some MAGA person mayor, or even a serial sexual harasser, disgraced former governor. He's just not everything that they want him to be. And
Seattle,
we hold you in our hearts, Minneapolis.
We hold you in our heart. We hold Seattle, my current hometown. Is it still my hometown? My transplant hometown? Anyway, since 2013, where I live. They did not vote for the progressive Katie Wilson. Bruce Harrell, for the first time in decades, Seattle has not had a second-term mayor in decades. This is the first time. Part of the issue is actually Katie Wilson's politics. She's a socialist Democrat. She's a nice enough person. I met her. She wasn't strong enough pro-Palestinian, frankly, in a city that is, came out at least is very vocally pro-Palestinian. Obviously, it's not everybody, but she was a little milquetoast with that, and she wasn't very charismatic. And somebody said, well, I don't need her to be charismatic. I said, you can live in pie in the sky all you want. She didn't excite people to come out. She did not. And she's young. And I mean, so is Zohran Mamdani, but she did not give off the impression that she was going to know how to lead, whereas Zohran does. She doesn't necessarily have any less experience than Zohran Mamdani. I mean, she's a community organizer. She maybe hasn't held statewide office, but there's no reason to believe she wouldn't have been fine, but she did not come across that way. And Seattle did what Seattle always does, the conflict avoidant, passive aggressive. We're keeping what we know because we're afraid of what we don't know. And I mean, honestly, I do think she would have been fine and great, but she couldn't excite people. The only reason why she lost is she did not get the turnout that she needed to beat Bruce Harrell. She could have, but people just weren't excited. It was like, man. And no shade to her as a person. She's lovely. I've met her. I mean, she's fine, but the city could have really gone progress, like New York, but.
So, not every election result was some groundbreaking win for progressive folks, but the repudiation of anti-trans politics was clear,
very clear,
all over the place.
And don't forget
Mississippi. What happened there?
They had a Republican supermajority in the state house, and two seats were flipped to Democrat. They still have the majority, but it's no longer a supermajority in Mississippi.
Right. It's not
even to get any, to flip any of the Mississippi,
is something
amazing. And Virginia, don't forget how many federal workers who are not being paid right now live in Virginia because of the government shutdown.
While we're going around the country, Georgia, shout out to Georgia, where two Democrats won statewide election to the Utilities Board? Utilities Commission, which has some like gigantic power in that state that I don't really understand. But they're the first two Democratic candidates to win statewide state office election in Virginia in like 20.
They control what people pay for utilities. So it's like once they get a majority, they're going to have more. The other big one is the 3 Supreme Court justices in Pennsylvania had millions of dollars against them as well, and they won, which is huge in a swing state.
Yeah, and that's a weird process. The way Pennsylvania does judges are elected. And so these judges, I don't know if they're elected or appointed or whatever, but every so often the people have an opportunity to sustain them or to replace them.
Yes, and that's the only vote, retain or not.
Retain or not. And all 3 of these progressive justices were retained.
Amazing.
Yeah. Electing judges is just weird.
Folks I know in Pennsylvania are pretty happy. The Democratic mayor elect of Pittsburgh was elected by 85 points. And like I have no idea who he is or who his opponent was, but like Pittsburgh is not a D plus 85 city. It's
no.
It's closer than that. Where my parents live in eastern Pennsylvania, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is the swingiest county in the swingiest state, every office was a Democrat, including all of the school board elections.
Oh, thank
you. Huge.
Where Moms for Liberty had taken over the school board 4 years ago. And so the school board in Central Bucks is now 9-0 Democrats.
That is amazing. Wow. And Detroit got its first female mayor.
In Bucks County, in Central Bucks County.
And Detroit.
Moms for Liberty fielded 31 candidates in school board elections, and they went 0 for 31.
Oh, that is very, very, very good news, because they are kind of like the Daughters of the Confederacy. They were doing that much damage.
Yeah.
And so Detroit did something good. Let's hold up Detroit.
First female mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, Michigan.
Yay for Detroit.
Amazing. It feels like this feels like last year on election day, and not because I fucking love Kamala Harris, but I obviously wanted her to win. I was in tears. Like, it was the first presidential election that I cried out of sadness. This year feels like polar opposite. Like, whew. And what people were excited about, to go back to Mamdani, because I want to talk about him forever. It's not that election. It was no more. It wasn't about harm reduction. It wasn't about lesser of two evils. It was, I'm excited to vote for someone who's saying that this is possible, that we can expand our imaginations for good. Everything does not always have to be, it is not realistic. Why is horror and violence and war the only realistic default that we live in right now? It is only because that's what we've been conditioned into. There is no reason why community care cannot be our new default. And that's what we need to do, is just keep saying it and keep doing it.
And I think, I'm very confident that Zohran Mamdani will quickly and decisively put to rest fears about anti-Semitism in New York, which were overblown as a nakedly political, brazenly nonsense tactic by the Cuomo campaign. The same man who when his father was running against Ed Koch for mayor in the 1970s, coined "vote for Cuomo, not the homo." So that was Andrew Cuomo who coined that in the 1970s. So like he's astute at picking up on people's fears and playing on them.
That's right.
And he did that, and he did that well. And most Jewish voters in New York saw right through it.
Sure did.
But I do want to say that there are lots of people who were scared because Andrew Cuomo played on their trauma. Andrew Cuomo played their generational trauma like a fiddle. And I think Mamdani will put those fears to rest quickly. But it's so, like, I just someone criticized the New York Times, our paper of record here in the largest city in the United States, ran an article about Mamdani's thin resume, and his resume is thin. He's been a state assemblyman for 3 years. His resume is thin, but at the same time, their article about Cuomo is Cuomo can't escape the fact that he's a giant asshole.
And a predator.
Right.
And a predator.
Like, he can't escape who he is.
That's it.
Like, and so it was like, would we rather the honest, sincere,
idealistic
person, or the giant asshole kissing up to the president?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I know which one I was in favor of.
I think this week we have seen the generational shift that the Democratic Party has needed for a long time, with Pelosi backing out, with Cuomo. Just, I mean, the debate things were just so stark in the generational differences.
Right.
Well, and
it feels like, and I can't tell whether the older folks are feeling like they're getting pushed out, like Cuomo's feeling that. But there's a part of me that thinks that Nancy Pelosi's like, okay, now they can take the training wheels off and I can go retire and drink orange juice in the sunshine or whatever, This is the generational shift we've been waiting for.
And if Chuck fucking Schumer is not scared that he's next, he should be.
He's an idiot
because he refused to endorse Mamdani.
Yep.
They all did.
Election. Hakeem Jeffries did. Governor Hochul, who I don't like and will not vote for in the Democratic primary next year, did. But they did. Like, Chuck Schumer never did.
Yep.
And even refused to say who he'd voted for when he was asked on election day.
Coward.
I didn't see Hakeem Jeffries. I only saw he wouldn't even.
Hakeem Jeffries finally did. It was late but it was during the early voting period he finally did.
Wow.
But like Chuck Schumer, like you're next, Senator Schumer. You are next in the generational turnover of the Democratic Party.
I don't want to give the Democrats or Nancy Pelosi credit they don't deserve. She didn't do this out of benevolence. There's actually somebody who was going to primary her, and there was a very good chance she was going to lose. I do not believe for a second that she was like did shit out of benevolence, because she should have left 10 fucking years ago.
I won't say benevolence, but I do believe she's tired.
It's whatever it is, she should. If this was about caring, giving a fuck about the United States or the Democratic Party, she should have left 10 years ago. Same thing with, there were a bunch of people who, because we can't point to, I can't point to Mitch McConnell and not point to the folks who refused to leave, who are on the Democratic side. So it is selfishness on all of their parts. So I don't give them any fucking ounce of credit. Get out of the way, because you helped make what we have now happen. Period. Full stop.
I was
to make this happen.
I was talking with my husband the other day, who thinks that Abigail Spanberger, governor-elect of Virginia, who is also fairly young, is because Virginia has a one-term limit on governors. You can only serve, you can't run for re-election as governor of Virginia. It's one term, 4 years. Yep.
Really?
That's why the current governor wasn't running for re-election. It's weird. It used to be a lot more states like that. Now it's just Virginia, one-term limit.
All right. Weird.
But he said he thinks that she is positioning herself to run for Senate when one of the senators from Virginia retires. And he's like, unfortunately, they're just in their 70s, so they're not old for the Senate.
Exactly.
And I'm like, damn.
Oh, ow,
exactly
geez.
It's so gross.
Like until you're 90, nobody thinks you need to leave the Senate.
Goddamn Strom Thurmond for setting that friggin' precedent.
Well, and Dianne Feinstein, who was like,
oh my God,
propped up like Weekend at Bernie's for the last 5 years that she was in the Senate. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was embarrassing and painful.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's not even good for her, or that, like,
right. And it's not like California would have elected a Republican.
It's not help, like, collectively this appeasement of the Democrats, again, which is why I bristle at centrism. I get it, I do, politically, blah blah, but I do think it's what got us here, because people weren't wanting to be bold and courageous. And the idea, if I hear one more time radical politics, or what Mamdani stands for is radical left. What's radical? Caring for each other?
Feeding people, housing people,
medical care,
giving people access to care,
education,
not incarcerating people awaiting trial, like who haven't even been convicted of things. I mean, like, these things are radical in this country, because the window has shifted. But that's like, those are the things he ran on, right? Let's have city-owned groceries, free buses, right? Let's allow New Yorkers to get to their jobs without spending lots of money, in their schools, right? Free buses, like, and people are like, well, what about the subways? And like, I'm sure that he would love to also make the subways free, but that's a $1 billion project instead of a $70 million project,
right?
I'm sure he would love to make the subways free. And like, let's be clear, no one batted an eye when Rudy freaking Giuliani made the Staten Island ferry free.
Nobody.
For the Republicans on Staten Island to be able to get to work free.
That's right.
Right? Nobody batted an eye. So free buses is radical.
He still alive?
There has been no ding dong from that corner yet. But like, free buses, city-owned grocery stores in neighborhoods that are food deserts.
Yep.
Is radical. Maybe we should make fresh food available to the citizens of the city in their neighborhoods.
Madness, I tell you, madness.
If we want to call that radical, then like, okay, I'm radical. Like, whatever. I mean, like, radical is such a nonsense word in politics
It's
right
a
now.
word.
They want to paint him as a communist, and like no one who like.
That's because they don't understand the difference between communist and socialist.
He's barely a socialist.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense. And he's the mayor-elect of a large city, which means that, the things that he wants to do have to be done in concert with the state government, which does have a Democratic supermajority in the legislature.
But also the city council with the boroughs and all that.
City council, there are, I believe, 51 members of the New York City Council. Currently, there are 6 Republicans of those 51. In January, it will be 5 because Democrats flipped a seat in the New York City Council. So there will be 5 Republicans out of the 51. Like, so he has people who will help him with this, but like he's not the president of the United States.
No.
Who just can fucking do things willy-nilly and nobody's stopping him. And that's why, like, you want to like debate about Palestine in a New York City mayor's election. Like, I cannot wait for Zohran Mamdani's foreign policy to be implemented.
The reason why, but here's what I'll say: the reason why it's important to reclaim and have clarity about why it is important that we reclaim radicals, because the right uses it as a way to discount, saying it's propaganda. That's what fascism is. It's propaganda.
Well, and it's a wedge, because if you're willing to throw those people under the bus, who else are you going to throw under the bus?
Yep.
That's right.
Right? And he refused to throw anyone under the bus, which I'm grateful for. Like, I'm glad for his positions. I agree with him on those positions. But like, what the mayor of New York cares about, like, a country on the other side of the world, it doesn't actually matter.
Well, it doesn't matter practically, but again, it's part of the propaganda campaign.
It matters to his morality. It matters to his.
I think
Which
character
for saying it doesn't seem to be really at play in New York City government.
No, but what the thing is that is true is that what some folks forces want us to believe is that if you are pro-Palestinian, you're going to lose an election. So even just and the idea that you can actually be against genocide and for life, and the affirmation of not annihilating an entire population of people, that somehow that's a problem. So part of why I think there's a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons why it's important that Mamdani won in the way he won is he's breaking down the mythology that there's some rule book that we need to follow. What should be radical is owning guns, is making a case for war, is disappearing people, as I heard someone say, like the ICE rapturing people right off the street. That's radical, and it's radically harmful. And so this is where we need to continue to push the Overton window left and left and left, because now people are faced with not eating. They may cut 10% of flights starting Friday if the government shutdown continues.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, you
that's
couldn't get me on a plane right now anyway.
I mean, that's what we need to say is radical. So
yeah,
I'm thankful. I'm thankful I got back and forth to Milwaukee last weekend before that bullshit started. So we have like 5 minutes left, and I want to spend 5 minutes talking about something else that is radical, and something else that people want to believe disqualifies folks from being elected, and something else we need to shift the window left on, which is abolition.
Yes.
The Church of the Larger Fellowship is staunchly pro-abolition, abolition of the carceral state, abolition of enslavement, abolition of the systems that dehumanize and isolate people. And we are really excited to be partnering with the Commission on Social Witness, which is the UUA's commission that helps guide our social witness programs, to create and offer resources for the current congregational study action issue on abolition that we proposed, and that the delegates to the General Assembly voted for. So we're really glad, Nicole, that you and Darby were at the abolition monthly conversation last night with Antoinette Holloman. I didn't hear it. I look forward. We're going to have the recording up on our website, clfuu.org/abolition. I'm going to put that in the chat. We're going to have the recording up on our website soon, but those, I have to spell abolition right. My fingers do not want to put I's in all the right places in abolition. But clfuu.org/abolition. There it's going to be a monthly series. I'm actually going to lead the next one based on the worship service that I'm doing on Sunday and the column I did for the CLF weekly newsletter entitled "No One Is Disposable," because we want us to start with like understanding what Unitarian Universalist theology has to say about these systems that dehumanize and isolate.
Yeah.
So. Abolition.
Amen. Abolition all the way. It is reframing how we structure society, and again, centered community care. It doesn't mean it's without accountability, but accountability centered in community care looks much different than the shit we're doing now.
True that.
That's my theological thesis right there,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. That's my PhD thesis. Let's stop doing the shit we're doing now.
Right. Yeah.
That's good. And I preached about this in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this past weekend, and I will preach about this again in other places. But like you have said many times, Aisha, someone imagined the things we have now.
That's right.
And then made them reality. And they were wrong.
Right.
Right? So we can imagine something different and then make them reality. I mean, they published a fucking book about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Project 2025. And people were like, oh, I don't believe that that's actually what... they published a fucking book telling people what they were going to do. Right? So Nicole says the CLF kickoff of the abolition series yesterday was great. Y'all should go next time. I believe the next one is Monday, the 1st of December. Let me check that in my calendar. Monday, the 1st of December. Yes, CSAI monthly conversation on imagination and abolition. So I'm going to be leading that. I'm going to be leading that conversation. Aisha, I think you might have one early next year that you're going to be doing, and we're inviting experts on this from around our denomination to lead those conversations and help congregations engage in this. Antoinette Holloman, who's works for the Women's Federation, UU Women. What is it called now? UU
Women's Federation. I'm going to be on the board starting next month.
Antoinette works for the Women's Federation, but she's a member of our elected Commission on Social Witness.
Right.
Has this beautiful and elegant framework for thinking about abolition. Right? There's the little piece that's prison abolition that's embedded in this bigger piece of abolishing the punishment addicted, violence addicted structures of our society, enslavement addicted structures of our society. And
exactly right.
in that big thing of abolition, there are on-ramps for anyone. Even if you don't actually believe that ultimately we should get rid of the prisons, there's an on-ramp for you in that, right? Abolishing slavery is an on-ramp.
Yes.
And that's true for people. So
what are we doing next week? Any idea?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll find out next week. I have no idea. I'm going to Con.
Okay, enjoy Loretta Falcon. Love to all of our
Thank you.
people at
Yes.
Love to
the
everybody.
Religious Educators Association.
Yes.
Thank you for being with us for this this beautiful hour and for putting up with all the spice. So.
Listen, it was a spicy day. Bye, everybody.
Be well.
Be well.
Thank you for joining us. Special thanks to everyone who gives generously to this ministry. It is because of you that this ministry is possible.
Visit clfuu.org/give to make a contribution.
We hope you will join us next week for another episode of the Voices of Unitarian Universalism.